I talked about this before on this channel, and TikTok TikTok completely is just banning my videos from being seen. Y'all are talking about the fact that Pete Hegseth wants to put $200 billion US of our US tax dollars into this failed assault on Iran, right? Okay, y'all are talking about all that. Remember when Trump proposed to put $1 trillion of our taxes, $1 trillion of our taxes in U.S. military defense? Come on, we the big beautiful bill hasn't even passed yet, and slashed all of those programs, the few programs that people in the United States have access to. Right, the U.S. is a first world country. Not really. We are the only first world country with the lowest quality of life. That includes not having universal health care. We barely count as a first world country. In fact, again, we're not a first world country. We're a third world country with a first world skin on it, with a lot of first world trinkets and toys and toxic candy and toxic treats to keep us distracted, right? Here's some bread and here's some circus. And we call that a first world country. That's what America is. But yeah, y'all saying we don't have, like Jasmine Crockett, she brought up Tupac. We got all this money for wars, but no money to feed the poor. We can't raise the minimum wage to 30 something to $40, which it should be. The minimum wage should be $40. Yes, I said that. We don't have enough money to raise the minimum wage to $40. But corporations and companies throughout the United States, many of whom are monopolies, by the way, that should be illegal, have been making bank since before the pandemic. When the pandemic started, there were mass layoffs, but companies were making gugas of money. You're not poor. You can't afford anything. Not because the American companies are lacking because they don't have enough money to hire the next generation of American workers like myself or to pay us livable, thrivable wages. No. American companies have been making more than enough money. The only reason you can't afford shit is because of greed. That is the only reason you can't afford shit. It's not because U.S. companies are struggling. The U.S. corporations, we can't afford to raise the minimum wage. We can't afford to have universal health care, but we could put $1 trillion in the U.S. military, $100 billion, $200 billion possibly in this failed attack on Iran. We could put $45 billion into ICE that's breaking immigrant rights, human rights, constitutional rights, especially the Third and Fourth Amendment rights, right? And the First Amendment, but we can't afford to have universal health care. We can't afford to raise the minimum wage, right? But corporations, not only corporations across America, their profits were rising all throughout the country, record levels. But people in the corporate class, the workers that were more, what is it called? White collar, the corporate level. Their salaries and their assets rose to over 300%. So that's where the money's going. That's where that money's going. But they say they can't afford to raise the minimum wage. They can't afford to have universal health care. We can't afford to have American houses being built. The millions that are empty being renovated. New ones being built. Starter homes. Affordable housing. House prices shouldn't be as high as they are. The stock market is fake. It is big corporations buying up housing, artificially pumping up prices. All of it is greedflation. All of it. But we're sitting here talking that we can't afford nothing. That the U.S. government can't afford shit. They can't do anything. They can't do anything for the American people. They cannot do anything for the people that live in North America. That we can't catch up or surpass the quality of life of other first world nations who don't even make even near the same amount of tax revenue that we do. And just imagine how much more we could afford if we stopped wasting that money in endless white supremacist colonizer wars overseas. And if we started actually taxing the rich like we used to. Again, without the rich, we make per year $4 trillion to close to $4 trillion in taxpayer money per year. Imagine what we'd be able to do if we weren't wasting it, and if we actually added trillions more dollars, hundreds of billions more dollars, even $1 trillion more dollars, if we actually tax the rich like we used to. We got to wake up. I'm sorry, this is more of a rant, but we gotta wake the fuck up. Been woke my whole life, but about this shit. I've been woke about this before wokeism and leftism went mainstream. I've been like this since 10 years ago. We all gotta wake up.